Super cool, kids. Can you even believe we've made it to week 5 of distance learning? I can believe it because you guys can do hard things and you have rocked this whole thing. Well, we are starting in math, unit 7, which takes us to the introduction of fractions and multiplications. Today is kind of a big lesson, but just know that we're going to review this tomorrow and the next day as well. So I want to start by reviewing a couple of terms that we have learned so far. You know, throughout the year, when I have said rows, what did I always want you to do? Think about it. Exactly. You would always move your hand horizontally because this means a row. Okay, which way would you move your hand if I said columns? Exactly, up and down. And then we would go really fast and I would say rows, columns, rows, columns, 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 rows, rows. Exactly, because I wanted you to get that straight. That's super important for the lesson that we're starting. We are going to be talking a lot about rows and columns, and we're going to learn a new word that leads us right into multiplication, and that is the word array. Array right here, A-R-R-A-Y. And it simply means arrangement, the arrangement of rows and columns. So once again, that's super important. An array is an arrangement of rows and columns, like how we line up our rows and how we line up our columns. So the first activity that they wanted you to do in this lesson was to loop the rows. So I am going to put a loop around the rows. And that's what I did right there. I looped the rows. This is one row, this is another row. Over here, I'm going to draw loops around the columns. So I've got this column, and this column, and this column, this column, and this column. So you see the difference between looping the rows horizontally and looping the columns vertically. Okay, so keep that in mind. We're going to keep coming back to that. All right, let's take a look at some arrays here. This is an array of rows and columns. In these rows, I have 2 stars, 2 stars, 2 stars. So I can say, if I add all these up, I'm going to say I have 2 plus 2 plus 2. What does that equal? 2, 4, 6. It equals 6. Okay, another way of looking at this is to look at the columns. In this column, I have 3, and in this column, I have 3. Now, I can add these 3's together. I'm going to do that right down here. And I know that 3 plus 3 equals 6. Now, I want to tell you that this leads us right into multiplication. Because all multiplication is repeated addition. So here I've got 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. I have 3 sets of 2. I wrote that right here. 3 sets of 2. Here's 1 set, 2 set, 3 set. When I put those all together, it equals 6. In math, when you see the word of, it means multiply. So if I remember that, I can say 3 times 2. And 3 times 2 equals 6. Now, looking at it from this view, we've got 2 sets of 3. There's 1, there's 2. 2 sets of 3. And we said that equals 6. Well, remember, in math, the word of means that we multiply. So I take my 2 times 3, and 2 times 3 equals 6. Okay, let's practice that again with different numbers. In this row, I've got 4. In this row, I've got 4. I know that I can add 4 plus 4, and it equals 8. Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is correct. And you know what? I've got 2 sets of 4. 2 sets of 4. I see it up here too. 2 sets of 4. I know that equals 8. Remember, the word of means multiply. So I can take my 2 sets times 4 and it equals 8. Let's look at it a different way. I've got 2, 1, 2, if I count the columns, 2 and 2. If I add all those together, I'm going to say 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. And I can see that equals 8. So I can look at that another way. I've got 4 sets of 2. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 sets of 2. So I know that equals 8. So I can write that again as the 4. Write the word of means multiply. And 2 equals 8. Okay, let's practice that again. I am aware that this is brand new, and for some of you, it might be a little confusing. So I decided to practice that again using some magnets. So you're gonna help me out with this, okay? All right. Okay, so count the rows with me. Count how many are in each row. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I can say 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It equals 9. I'm going to count the columns now. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 in this column and 3 in this column. This one is going to give me the same amount. 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 9. So let's turn that into a multiplication problem. 3 sets of, I know that of means to multiply, so 3 sets of 3 equals 9. Okay, let's try it again. We're going to use some of these same magnets, and we're going to look at some different numbers. Okay, over here, let's count the number in each row. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I've got 3 sets of 4. Because I could say 4 plus 4 plus 4. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That equals 12. Well, 3 sets of 4, remember of means to multiply, of 4 equals 12. And another way to look at that, let's count the columns, the number of magnets in each column. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I can add those together. How many 3s do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 sets of 3. And I still have 12. Okay, friends, we will be coming back to that. But first I've got some more information, new information to show you. As we begin to learn about fractions, I want to teach you that fractions have 2 important words. Now, this is actually like end of 3rd grade information, but you're almost in 3rd, so I know you can handle it. You can do hard things. The top number of every fraction is the numerator. Say that with me 3 times. Numerator, numerator, numerator. Okay, the bottom number is the denominator. Say that with me 3 times. Denominator, denominator, denominator. And the bottom number is always the one that you need to look at first, because the bottom number will tell you how many equal parts there are. When you talk about fractions, you have to talk about equal parts. If they're not equal parts, we cannot talk about fractions. Those two go hand in hand. I say fractions, you say equal parts. Fractions, equal parts. Fractions, equal parts. They go together. They have to have equal parts. So in this case, my denominator is telling me that I need to have 2 equal parts. My numerator is telling me to show one of those. So I'm going to color that in, although my line wasn't exactly straight there. But in this square, we are showing 1/2. There are 2 equal parts, and we are shading in 1 part. Okay, a little bit more with this. And again, we're going to go more into this tomorrow, but you're going to see some words. This word is half. Like if you have half of a sandwich, or if you cut it into halves, it means 2 equal parts. And 1/2 looks like this. Sometimes this horizontal line is diagonal, but we really don't see that very often. So 1/2 means 2 equal parts. That denominator shows us equal parts, and one of them would be on the top. Okay, this word is third. Thirds, we're looking at the 3 in the denominator, and this means 3 equal parts. If I were to show 1/3, here are my equal parts, I would shade in one of these. This word is fourth and fourths. That means 4 equal parts, and 4 is the denominator. You see over here that there are 4 equal parts. If I were to show one of them, I would color in 1. Here's the same shape and 4 equal parts. Here's the same shape showing 4 equal parts. And here's the same shape showing 4 equal parts. Remember, equal is the big word. Okay, let's do a little demonstration, and then we're going to get into more of this in 7-2. In this one, they want us to show halves. Okay, there's 2 equal parts. I can do that here. Here's 2 equal parts. And on this triangle, I can show halves. Here's 2 equal parts. But what about this? No, this is not showing halves because this part is not equal to this part. They are different shapes. We're looking at a small triangle and we're looking at a trapezoid, I believe there. So this does not show equal parts, so this does not show halves. Okay, let's look at some objects with thirds. 3 equal parts, as best as I can eyeball it here without a ruler. 3 equal parts. All right, with this one to show 3 equal parts with the circle, I'm going to try to show equal parts of the pie. It's not exact, but it's fairly close. Now with this shape, I cannot show equal parts because I can't divide it into 3s because these parts are not equal. Okay, showing fourths, 4 equal parts. Here's one way to show 4 equal parts. In the circle, I can show 4 equal parts like this. And here's another way. Let's see, I'm going to show 4 equal parts like this with that rectangle. So boys and girls, We covered a lot today. We covered rows, columns, arrays, which is arranging rows and columns. We covered equal parts, which is the denominator of a fraction. We talked about numerators, which right now we're not too concerned about numerators because we're focusing on equal parts. And we introduced halves, thirds, and fourths. All right, friends, I would like you to now head over to Think Central and complete lesson 7-1. And we'll get ready to review this information and tack on a little bit more of this in lesson 7-2. Have a great day. I'll see everyone later. Bye now.